Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, and I just wanted to give you guys a few quick thoughts and let you know that the video is up for the Pylon Show. If you don't know, Diggity and I were the guests on the Pylon Show last week, and the Pylon Show is a StarCraft community show. Basically, it's like a talk show hosted by Artosis and talking about different tournaments and all kinds of things that are going on. And so last week Diggity and I were on there, and it was basically the theme of the show was the old school YouTube casters, and Diggity and I represented that large group of people actually on the show. So I just wanted to say a few things. Basically, if you want to just get straight into it and watch it, though, I will put the link to the video. The whole VOD for the entire show is up on YouTube on the Pylon Show YouTube account, and so the link is in the video description. I just wanted to mention a couple things though as a preface, because it's been a few days and I'm looking back on it, and there's just a couple things that I wish I'd said more about at the time, even though we ended up actually talking for 4 hours. It was ridiculous. It was a really, really long show, and I think we were just getting so caught up talking about the old days and having so much fun that we lost track of time, and so it ended up being a really, really long show. So be prepared for that. Of course, you can download it as a podcast too. I think somewhere you can just go to pylonshow.com and it's all there, the VODs and links and everything. But anyway, I just want to mention real quick that one of the things that I kind of wish I'd said more, we were kind of focusing on me and Diggity and the people that we casted with a lot back in the day. But I wanted to make sure that people understood going into it that we mentioned this briefly, but I want to make sure I emphasize that Diggity and I have a lot of respect for the things that Artosis and Tasteless actually accomplished, because we were doing stuff on YouTube, but it was kind of like a two-pronged attack where we were gathering a lot of attention to StarCraft by putting out a lot of content on YouTube, but they were actually going through and doing the legwork and taking the risks to live in Korea and have the meetings with the executives and try to talk to the actual esports organizations and trying to make things happen on the ground in Korea. And I don't think they get quite enough credit for that. And I kind of wish I'd mentioned that more in the show. But as I said, we were mostly focusing on the YouTube stuff, so it didn't come up as much. But I just want to make sure that everyone understands that Artosis and Tasteless really are fundamental in the reason why we have the esports scene that we have today. So any case, the other thing I wanted to mention is that we were focused a lot on Diggity and I, and partly that was because we were talking about our own techniques and the technology we used and some of our own experiences and that kind of thing. And Diggity and I guess out of the YouTube casters, ended up actually being the most involved in StarCraft esports in general. We're the only ones that actually ended up casting for major tournaments. Diggity did a little bit for some, Yankee League and some of the minor tournaments, but he actually casted some NASL with me as well, so casting for major tournaments. So that was partly why we focused on that. But also, I kind of wish that I had talked more about a lot of different people, because we talked about the few of us that did a ton of casting. I mentioned Cholera and Klazart and Rise and Nuke the Stars and Sail, and those are people that I kind of knew more about as well, just kind of knew of more, and so they kind of came to mind. But I wish I'd been able to remember the names of a lot of people that were doing other casting during that time period. And there was a bunch of people, I mentioned this in the show too, there was a bunch of people that casted for a month or two and then they burnt out, right? But there was a number of people that casted for a while also, and I kind of wish I'd given them a little bit more recognition, and it wasn't it was just because it wasn't really the topic. So, but people like Matt and Steve at Sea, I'm good friends with them now as well. And there was a guy called Sunday who I casted with sometimes, and he was really good, and I kind of wish he'd kept up with it actually. And then Combat X, yes, he's become a very controversial figure, I guess. I didn't actually ever hear much about this. I only have ever had good interactions with them, so I don't really want to talk about that. But just, to be fair, apparently some people don't like some of the things that he's done and said, but he was a really helpful person, and I did a lot of casts with him, and he was fun to cast with. So But yeah, there's just so many other people too that I can't even remember all the people that were doing stuff back in the day. But I kind of wish I'd acknowledged more of them, because I kind of talked about how a lot of people burnt out quickly. But I wish I'd given more attention to the fact that there were several people that I just didn't think of off the top of my head who did keep it up for a while. And anyway, so like if you remember someone else who was like legit and did was consistent for a long time, you leave a comment or something so I can try and remember them, or so other people can recognize them as well. So, but in any case, so those are just a couple thoughts I had, and I just want to say it was really, really fun too. I'm so glad I got a chance to go on there and chat with them. I chat with Diggity oftentimes anyway, because he's been a friend of mine for a long time, but it was nice to be able to chat with Artosis and just like reminisce about the old days. And I think I ended up rambling a lot at different times, so my apologies that I might have gone over the deep end on different topics, but that's what I do, is I ramble. So I guess given the opportunity to do so, and given such a topic that I was so excited to talk about, I ended up rambling a lot. So be prepared for that. But if you want 4 hours of rambling or just discussion by me and Diggity and Artosis about the old days and the way things used to be and how things developed and what things were like and some of the things that we had to go through and the struggles of casting on YouTube and starting up esports in general. Plus, at the end, they had Patreon questions, which were just random weird questions from, some were weird, some were legit, but just random questions from people, and that was fun to end on too. So, in any case, like I said, the links will be in the description of this video if you want to check it out. And I hope you enjoy it. And I'm gonna go ahead and immediately after finishing recording this, I'm gonna go record a commentary on a game that I've been looking forward to casting. So that'll probably be up in your feed about the same time. All right, thanks very much for watching.